Hello and welcome. Well, we got a couple of special edition Dodges in the news. Also some news about the new McLaren P1. BMW is going to take the fight big time to Mercedes-Benz. Spyker is going to build a fighter for another competitor in their class. Also some sketches of a brand new GT86 that could be coming to your dealership soon. Sales numbers worldwide just came out for the year 2012. And a weird little story about a couple of bandits who tried to steal a Chevrolet Corvette. First up on the list is a picture of the new Dodge Challenger Redline. This vehicle will be making its official debut at the Chicago Motor Show coming up in just a little bit of time. Now the new Redline, actually there was an older Redline, the Rally Redline, that was basically only a V6 only option, where this one you can get the big Hemi in. Now it comes with special edition striping, also special wheels, interior package. A lot of pieces of this vehicle will be exclusive only to the Rally Edition. Now this vehicle will be a special edition vehicle. It will be coming to your dealerships very soon. Another one of these Dodge's special editions will be the Mopar packaged Dodge Dart. It will be the Mopar 13. Now, as I think last year, the Mopar 12, I think, was the 300. The Mopar 11 was the Charger, and I think the Mopar 10 was the Challenger. So these special edition vehicles will get all bespoke interior with the Mopar badging on it, new wheels. This particular Dart will come out with a 1.4 liter multi-air and a manual transmission only. This one's going to be a little bit more exclusive than the other cars. The other cars were 1,000 vehicles only. This particular car is only going to make 500 of them, so it's going to be pretty exclusive. This thing, too, will be making its official debut at the Chicago Motor Show coming up very soon. And also, if you really want a Charger Mopar, I think it's a Mopar 11, I happen to know where one of those is still sitting, brand new on a dealer lot. Hit me up on Facebook if you want to get at that particular automobile. Next up on the list, let's talk a little bit about the McLaren P1. The McLaren P1 has been taking orders for quite some time, but apparently McLaren's going to stop taking orders mid-February. No real reasoning behind why this is, especially because they're going to make 500 of the P1 and only 120 are supposedly spoken for. So an interesting situation, but mid-February they're going to stop taking orders on these vehicles. Now this could be just a development issue where they can't keep up with the order line. I don't think they've actually started building these cars in anger yet. But interesting little news. We'll see what comes of this in the future. Also, the McLaren P1 makes its official public debut of the development car, which actually made a cameo appearance at the Vodafone McLaren Formula One World Launch at the McLaren Technology Center. The vehicle was actually driven by their senior Formula One driver, Jenson Button. And if you want to, check out the video on the Motor Cars Enthusiast Facebook page, where you can see this vehicle actually making its debut. Pretty interesting too, especially its shutdown procedure, which you can still hear going on in the background. Pretty interesting deal, but it makes its official debut to the public, at least in its present day form. Neat little deal there. Also coming up, BMW's in the news. BMW wants to take the fight to Mercedes-Benz in a way that they haven't done before. To the highest of the high-end sports cars. They want to take on the AMG Black Series editions. Now, there's several Black Series editions when it comes to the AMG lineup. BMW wants to go after it, and I, for one, couldn't be more excited about this deal. Can't wait to see what BMW comes up with. Now, if you don't know what the Black Series is, basically it's a stripped out track car, wider stance, lower suspension, more horsepower to the engine. It's basically a track day fighter, and I can't wait to see what BMW does with their car, come up with the same type of package to compete with the Black Series. Spyker's also in the news. Spyker's supposedly going to show off their first brand new car in several years. Spyker Group, which went through that whole Saab thing and then went where they got sold and then they got bought back, and it was a weird little situation that goes on with this. Well, apparently they're going to go after what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. They're going to go after Porsche. They want to go after the 911, as we talked about in the last shows. Caterham going after the Cayman. Well, now they want to go after the 911. Supposedly this Caterham and the Spyker going to be making their official debuts at the Geneva Motor Show. So at least Porsche should probably put a bullseye on the back of every car they're going to have in Geneva, because everybody's wanting to take pot shots at them. Next up on the list, this is a picture of a sketched version of what quite possibly the GT86 convertible could look like. Now, from what I've heard from a couple of different websites, this vehicle is actually already in test mode, but Toyota says that they're just putting it out there to see what the kind of vibe it could get from it, see what kind of interest there are in this vehicle. Well, if you're already testing it, chances are you've already put this thing, I guess, at go into production. Now, I'll tell you what, this has been one of the hardest vehicles to get your hands on here in North America. The GT, or I guess it would be the BRZ and the FRS, Scion and Subaru respectively. Those vehicles actually have been very, very difficult, and actually the day-on loads that they have at their dealerships, the vehicles only last, I think the last I had heard was 8 days, a little under 8 days, and the vehicle's already gone. So can't imagine this convertible version will probably sell just as fast as the hardtop version. Can't wait to see this thing in dealer showrooms coming soon. Next up on the list, let's talk about sales for the worldwide over the year of 2012. And sales numbers, as some of the numbers are floating out. Chrysler came out with their numbers. Ford came out with their numbers for the year. I know Ford did very well in the U.S. market. So did Chrysler. But overseas kind of took it on the chin. Now, as far as what they're talking about overall sales, $82 million worth of, or million units were actually sold worldwide, which is pretty doggone impressive, with emerging markets coming through, as in some around South America and India and China coming through, with a lot of different car sales coming soon. And this particular lineup is up 5% year over year, 2011 versus 2012. So at least somewhat of a shining mark as it comes to the world economy, that is, coming soon. At least we'll see what comes of this thing in the future. We'll see if 2013 can be an upturn as well. We'll have to wait and see on this. Next up on the list, this is a goofy little story. It came out actually, I think, a week ago, but I'm finally getting around to it because I just thought it was really interesting. A fellow by the name of Randolph Bean had actually pulled over at the Orlando Medical Center to actually text his wife, who he was going to go pick up from work. Now, he didn't want to text while he was driving, so he pulled over, and as he was making the text, a couple of bandits came over and tried to steal his automobile. He couldn't get the door open on the car, so Randolph had to open it himself. Then they dragged him out face down onto the ground, and they both jumped into the automobile, for which they couldn't get started. Now, one of them got out and actually held Randolph by gunpoint and demanded, "How do you start the vehicle?" Randolph told him 4 times that you got to push in on the clutch. Apparently these guys didn't know how to drive a manual transmission, funny enough. And needless to say, they made off with Randolph's wallet and some jewelry and some other articles of clothing, but didn't make it off with the Z06. So, interesting deal is what I still think that a manual transmission is still the biggest theft deterrent going nowadays. And if you want to see that actual report from the Orlando News, I've got it on the Motorcars Enthusiast Facebook page as well. And if you want to, you can head on over to the Motorcars Enthusiast Facebook page. We update it every day with a lot of cool stuff and some fun stuff there as well. You can like us on there. And also, if you want to subscribe to the channel and get to the first updates of all the new shows when they first come out, you can do that anytime right now if you're watching this on the old YouTube machine. That's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this week's Motorcars Enthusiast. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.